Okay, so this is my reflective analysis movie for my Foley's sound design. And I'm going to start off by talking about the bass ambience and the ambience that I've created. So from the bass ambience, I actually recorded the sound of of friction across a banana, and then I cropped the clip. I downed the pitch, lowered the pitch, and added reverb onto it. And I also added this waves plugin, low air, and it actually adds lower harmonics to the audio. And I also used an Ableton preset here for this ambience, and I used the polar pad, and I just played in a few key notes just to add sort of an ominous feel to the audio. Okay, and so it starts off outside with an explosion, and what I've done here is added a wind sound to it. So to create this wind sound, I actually recorded the sound of a coin dragging along wood, and then I lowered the pitch for it, and also added another track with the same sound and lowered the pitch even more just to give it a bit more variety, and you can hear that here. Sorry, 1 second, you can hear that here. Okay, and for the explosion, originally I recorded this and it's actually a recording of the wind, and I was going to use that for my wind, but it actually didn't have any high frequencies and it was just more of a rumble, so instead I just added that to the explosion, and I layered it up with also the sound of a stove being lit. I actually recorded that from my stove at home. Now for the fire crackle in the explosion, I actually recorded this by slowly compressing a packet of crisps. And it gave quite an interesting sound. And in the explosion, there's a lot of cars and wrecks, and I wanted to get a metallic sound in there, so I actually recorded the sound of tapping a radiator with metal, and then I also lowered the pitch, and I got this sound. Which I thought was quite a nice layer to the explosion. And finally there's some money flying in the wind from the explosion, and I just recorded the sound of crumpling some paper up. And so you can hear that. And so we'll just see that in the movie. Now for the next part coming up, I had to record some sounds that were going to sound like, not exactly like bullets, but you know, something that reminisces the sound of what you'd expect of what you're seeing. And I actually used the same sound as what I did for the wind, but instead of lowering the pitch, I actually highed the pitch and I panned it as well as the camera goes past, and it gives quite a good swirling sound. So here's that. So just to see that in the movie. Okay, so for the next part in the movie, it's actually a patient in a wheelchair that was struggling, and I just wanted to focus on that part until it comes up to the next part, which is the glass. So for the wheelchair, I actually recorded the sound of an office chair shaking it to almost give a feel of panic. And then afterwards came the part with the smashed glass. And to create this sound, I actually recorded the sound of jingling keys. And as the screen got closer towards the glass, I started jingling the keys more frantically. And I reversed the audio, added up 2 tracks, and I panned them from left to right the closer they get to the glass as well, just to make the sound larger and give it more effect. And this actually worked rather nicely with the picture, so you'll see it here. So for the next part coming up, again, there's bullets going past, and I used the same sounds as before, and again panned them accordingly. And also for the explosion that's about to come up, I used the same principles as I did for the first explosion. However, there's a wheelchair in this one, and so I used the same audio from the wheelchair, except for I reversed the audio just to give it a different effect. For the next part coming up, there's actually bloody footprints on the floor, and I wanted to capture what the sound would have sounded like before, as it just happened per se. And to do this I wanted the squishing sound of the boots on the floor, and so I recorded the sound of squishing an orange, and it was rather effective. Which you can hear there. And again, there's some broken glass on the floor, and I used the same sound. I just cropped the sample that I originally used for the glass. And finally, for the last part, again it comes back outside, so I used similar technique for the wind again, and also added the sound of the flying paper as there's money floating down. And I just changed up the ambience a little bit towards the end, just for the sort of element of surprise as it comes back into where it originally started, and it shows the policeman, who is actually one of the guys dressed up as clowns who are robbing the place. And I just want to show where I got some of my ideas from, actually from epicsound.com. And as you can see, some of the ideas were here. And there's lots of different ways showing how to record different sounds itself. And so I got the idea from there.